Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Big League Chew. This is episode 301. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
If I get some congratulations on me, this is 300 for me. So, where's this 299
This
for
is
me?
299.
All right, so no congratulations.
We'll jump the gun there. Jump the gun.
All right.
We
That's
just
cool.
went over this. You went...
Yeah.
You got things started with episode 2, so you missed the first one, and then the one you were out sick during the World Series back in 18. So this is 299.
All right, 299. Yeah.
So we need to remember this on
Right up on the milestone.
We're getting there. We'll have we'll have a reflection segment that episode too. We'll just talk about Nate's accomplishment on Monday.
Fair. That's cool.
300 for Nate. Some housekeeping items here first. Some minor news, I guess you could say, not necessarily big news, but made the jump after you and I had talked about it, made the jump on social and the website, switched over our handles. There's no more the 30 Take Pod. That's out the window completely. Have just gotten rid of it. I got tired of people making comments
just
about
not
it.
Understanding the reference. I didn't think it was that hard of a reference to get.
Yeah. No, it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
But I felt the need to make the jump. So it is now spelled out, the number 30 Take. THREEOHTAKE. 30 Take. So there'll be no more 30 Take. There'll be no more 30 Take Pod. There'll be no more 30 Take Pod. I don't know what y'all are coming up with, but the confusion is out the window now. So you can find us on socials at THREEOHTAKE.
Did you update your ad read?
No, I gotta touch base with our friends over at SeatGeek.
Oh boy,
I gotta get that cleaned up too.
No SeatGeek read today.
No, the code still works. I just gotta update it to be more accurate.
No, then we're just sending out mixed signals here. I mean, 30 Take is dead.
I mean, the people that hate our ad reads have probably noticed that I don't think I've done the SeatGeek ad read in the last few episodes. So
there's people that hate our ad reads?
It is what it is. I mean, I hate ad reads. I mean, to the people that listen and sit through our ad reads. I mean, every now and then we'll have like a story with it, like the Batter Bastards of Baseball discussion we had about the Big League Chew. Every now and then we have a little story with it, but otherwise, if you just hate ads like I do, you more than likely skip through it. But
speaking of which, did you see? I don't know why it took this long. I just introduced Paige to Big League Chew.
I did. I saw she tagged me in the story.
She'd never had it before.
What was the verdict? Oh, I'm excited. Tell me the story. How did it happen? Which flavors? Which one did she like the most?
We were talking about like she loves candy. Like it's like a bad thing for her. Like dessert is like we're just gonna crush like gummy worms and stuff, and it's like can't do that. Like we got to find something that like gives us that sweetness, but it lasts longer than like eating a million of them. So I was like, what if like gum, like like maybe some gum to get you that little bit of sugar rush, and then you can still chew on it. It lasts longer. She's like, yeah, maybe I'll order some on Amazon. I was like, what are you wanting, like mint gum to end your night, or you want like something that's candy flavored? Because I have Big League Chew. Like I have a whole box. She's like, well, I didn't know you had extras. And I'm like, well, yeah. I was like, what flavor do you want? She's like, I don't know. I've never had it. And I was like, what?
I mean,
to her credit,
her credit, that's a valid, like, I don't know what flavor I'm supposed to start with for something I've never had.
She didn't know that this was a thing. So like, I think she understood that we were sponsored and she thought it was cool, but I was like, no, babe, like, I grew up on this. Like, this for us has come full circle.
Yeah, this goes
beyond. And I told her the story. I was like, this is how you tear it open, because you can fold it down and crinkle it up. We used to throw it in our baseball bags, and like it would just stay there for months. And like you didn't, it wasn't a baseball bag unless there were loose seeds in a crunkled up old bag of Big League Chew at the bottom of one of the pockets
with like random shreds at the bottom of
exactly.
The bag. Yeah.
Like that it's not a baseball bag unless it had that. So I'm explaining all this stuff to her. I'm like telling her, I'm like, we introduced Rob Nelson. Like we interviewed Rob Nelson like last year and a half ago. I'm like, this has all come like full circle for us. This is like a big thing. And it's like for us, like we don't care about like the type of what we get out of it, right? We're not worried about compensation. Big League Chew is like, for us, it's like the ultimate sponsor. Like it's what we wanted, and this is what we did as kids. So I'm like teaching her about it, and she never saw it before. So she's like seeing it all shredded for the first time. And she's like, what do you do? And I'm like, you just grab a clump of it and throw it back there. And I'm like, it's okay to like hang on to it for about 92 seconds and just like toss it out and try a new flavor. Like it's cool. No big deal. You go about this however you want to, but you have to make sure that we try all of them and rank them. Number one for her.
Well, hold on. Did you give her a chance to reset her palate at all? Like, cause remember, if you remember when we did that promo video for it, like that's a real thing. You need a chance to reset a little bit. Cause a lot of those flavors will punch you right in the mouth.
Yeah. She understood the OG Big League Chew, like the original flavor. She was like, this is like very good. She's like, I like this. She's like, I get that it can't be the favorite, but at the same time, you have to understand that it's like, it holds a legendary place. But number one for her was strawberry.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, what? I was like, blue raspberry is like widely known as the number one. She's like, yeah, it's okay. It's just a little too much. She was like, it's trying too hard to be blue raspberry. I was like, all right, that's fair.
I don't even know if I'd say widely known. I think that belief
it's like a
developed
it's just
recently.
Like a sweeping declaration, I feel like.
Well, I think for a lot of the older fans like us who've been around it for a while, it's between grape and sour apple.
Well, that's all we had. We had those three.
Right. Blue raspberry is pretty new, so
yeah.
Maybe it was time.
Yeah, no, strawberry was number one for her. She loved it. And then she, just like I, basically forgot the correct form on how to blow the right bubbles. We needed to practice for a little bit. So we threw in the OG and blew some bubbles.
There's something about the classic.
But she just thought it was cool because she was like, I had no idea like this was a thing. I'm like, I know it's kind of a cult following, but like she put it on her story. And her aunt is like commenting on her story. Her grandma sent the fire emoji on the story. And she's like, Grandma, I don't even know if you think you know what that means. She knew. Grandma knew.
She knew.
Yeah. Just like commenting on all this stuff. She was like, how do all these people? I'm like, babe, because this has been around for like decades. Like this is a thing. Like, yeah. So
well, at this point,
it was cool. It was cool introducing that to somebody. Like for the first time.
That's a monumental day. I mean, that's one for the books. Cool. I feel like at this point, though, we just got to transition right into it and get the ad read.
Just get the ad read in. Let everybody know.
I mean, that was like a 10-minute ad read.
Yeah, I know. And I was telling her all about Rob Nelson. I was telling her about the documentary on Netflix. Like I was mentioning all that stuff to her. And she was tagging them in the story. She was like, what's the tag? And I was like, Big League Chew on Twitter, Big League Chew Gum on Instagram.
let me run through the ad read real quick.
Just like, I remembered it.
Refresh my memory.
Anyway, for those who don't know and live under a rock, founded by former left-handed pitcher Rob Nelson, Big League Chew started from humble beginnings in the Portland Mavericks bullpen in 1977. For more than 40 years, the iconic pouches packed with shredded, flavorful bubblegum has become the number one shredded gum of athletes everywhere. Big League Chew has sold more than 900 million pouches and is designated as the Hall of Fame bubblegum. Grab some gum and head to Big League Chew's social media channels at Big League Chew on Twitter, at Big League Chew Gum on Instagram to show off your Big League bubbles. You can also find a list of retailers or purchase any of their products directly from their website at bigleaguechew.com. BLC, Big League Chew.
All right, let's talk about this Field of Dreams game. I feel like there's a lot of takes to be had here. And you mentioned before we hopped on that you're feeling a little spicy, so I'm hoping there's a little bit of an overlap there. A little bit of a correlation. We'll see. Time will tell. But before we get into the specifics, a general thought that you may have surrounding last night's game.
Meh.
Fair.
The only thing that made this somewhat salvageable for me was the fact that the Cubs were in it. I think that's the only thing, because like you could tell that most of the fans there were into it because they were Cubs fans.
What's wild though is I'm pretty sure the Cubs came in as underdogs, believe it or not. I was looking at the money lines before the game. Pretty sure the Cubs are underdogs. Don't know how that makes sense.
Whoever bet on that should probably check their gambling addiction meter because I'm not betting on that game. But yeah, see, I feel like it should have been a one and done thing.
It really should have.
It should have been a one and done thing. And I know I said last week, I was like, if they do this correctly, you could turn this into like a Masters kind of thing for MLB, but they're not doing it correctly. They're doing it ridiculously. I tweeted about it right at the beginning of the game. Ken Rosenthal's, or I think it was Ken Rosenthal.
Verducci, I believe.
Tom Verducci. They're all dressed up like the era, and I'm like, you guys are buying in. I'm down.
That. I was all for it. Which, by the way, side note, before I forget, because I know I'm going to forget this, who were the guys in the dugouts that were dressed the same way? Were those like grounds crew? Did you see those guys?
I have no idea. Could have been.
So you had like
media
the players.
Guys?
Well, I don't know. You had like your players. You had your managers. They were in uniform. They were in their garb.
Yeah.
But then you had guys that were dressed up in the, like you said, in the era of Rosenthal and Verducci and guys like that were standing in the dugout. But it wasn't just like one or two guys. It was like a whole crew. And I had no idea as to why they were there, what they were there for.
What if was it the grounds crew?
That's what I'm saying. That was my only guess. Because they didn't have any cameras. Cool. They didn't have any. They were just standing there, just checking it out. I'm like, it's got to be the grounds crew.
Yeah. That's sick, actually. Like, see, it's half bought in. They're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's what pisses me off. But I tweeted about it at the beginning, right before the game started. David Bell is getting interviewed, asking what Field of Dreams means to him, you know, what the movie was about for him, what it meant to his family, because like his whole family's been in baseball, and he just lost his brother, and he's like starting to get choked up about it. And just absolutely ridiculously rupturing corn in the fields is Neo and Pitbull just shaking the earth. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I literally...
Why?
I told Meredith, right as we're sitting down with dinner, literally seconds before the game started, or before that interview started. We sit down, we start eating dinner, and then the music kicks on, and I'm listening to this interview, and I looked at her and I said, nothing makes me think of a baseball game in a quaint little town in Iowa like Pitbull. And I'm like, what? And I know we went on and on about this last year, and I know like for a number of our
I'll do it again. I don't care.
Look,
I'll do it again.
I know for a number of our followers, this has become kind of like a running joke in the last few days where like people are catching on to what we're saying. And we're not the only ones saying it. Like other people are saying the same exact thing. But like you said, you got to go all in. Give me the organ for just one game. Like we can do without the commercialization of the Field of Dreams game because it's already there. Like they've already kind of, I don't want to say ruined it, but they're not exactly helping their cause with the the feel or the vibe that they're going for with this like quaint. They're using these words, but they're not producing it as such.
Exactly. They're doing everything contradicting. You got the guys in the old uniforms. Uniforms were spot on. Loved them. Great job there. You got the guys walking out of the cornfield. You got Papa Griffey and Junior coming out. Everything's good. You have that like slow Field of Dreams music, and it's like we're all good here. We're doing the right stuff. And you have this moment where it's like, you know that every guy in there, at least that grew up watching the movie, can relate in some way. Joey Votto's talking about how he played that movie to death with his dad, and like that's all he wanted to do, and he lost his dad when he was a kid, and it's just like, this type of stuff. And then David Bell talking about his brother. John Smoltz literally lost his dad yesterday. I don't know if you heard that on the broadcast.
Which was wild. I had no idea.
Wild.
Like earlier, like before the game started, and he's still calling the game.
Yeah, and he said, he was like, my dad would be so mad at me if I didn't do this game. So like, you have all of these moments to continue to connect to connect families to the movie, to the nostalgia of it. And it's like, I get it for any other, fans out there that are multi-sport fans like myself. We know that baseball just beats nostalgia to death. Dwight quotes it in The Office. I get it. But like, damn it, give me one game that's just not over the top commercialized. It's insane. You're all the way there. You have everything perfectly done. You don't have too many fans there. It's not over the top. And somehow someone's like, you know what? Let's start this night off with Pitbull. I'm gonna lose it. I started cooking. I was like, I'm not sitting here and watching this, so I started making dinner.
It sounds like a great decision. Let's start with Pitbull. Yeah. Okay. So we've got the music out of the way. We've made our opinions known on that. Mm-hmm. The intro. I don't know how much or how little you saw of the intro.
I did not see much of it.
You said you started cooking. So, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll fill you in. Did you at least see the Ken Griffey and his dad part?
I saw his dad drop it.
Did he drop it?
He dropped the first throw.
Oh, no.
First one.
I don't know if I thought that. I remember thinking that. I'm like, these guys are the only ones out here. It would be terrible if they dropped it. And I guess I just didn't. Oh, yeah. It didn't register.
Senior hands Junior the glove. Junior already walks out with the ball. He had that. Throws the glove on, scoots back. Real light overhand flip. Senior gets cuffed.
I need to watch this. Hold on.
Senior gets chicken winged. Clank. Down to the ground. Then they start laughing. Come on, dog.
Oh, no, he did.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not a good look.
And then I was like, you know what? No wonder why your son called you off on fly balls when you guys were playing together.
Okay, all right. That's a little aggressive. Stephen A. Reyes needs to save his bullets for other things. Yeah, I mean, altogether, though, I did think that was a pretty cool moment. I was curious to see what they were going to do for an intro, because for as long as you do this event, which, again, we don't know if there is going to be another Field of Dreams games, because they already came out and said, yeah, no, we're not doing it in 2023 because we're building a youth complex. So I don't know what to take from that. But I was curious to see it, because like you can't just throw Kevin Costner out there for the same intro every year. It's like, well, that gets old the second time around. And so I don't even think he was there. He may have been. I don't know if he was.
I don't think he was.
I didn't see any sign that he was. So they bring out Ken Griffey. They bring out the kids and the parents to have a little catch as things are going on, and that was cool. The one part of the intro that was
that right after Griffey? So the kids started coming out as they were playing catch.
Yeah, they tossed it back and forth a few times, I think, and then the kids and the parents came out and having a catch.
And the kids were, I'm assuming, from the Little League game the day before.
Possibly. I mean, I wasn't able. They weren't showing too much of.
Did you see the Little League game?
No, but I heard about it.
It was on MLB Network. They played on the original field.
Did they really? Wow.
Yeah. Like, it was cool. They put up, like, the backstop was there, obviously, but then they just put up, like, portable nets along the way.
Oh, good for them.
That's what you're watching on TV. You see, like, the big, like, stripe of dirt from the mound to the plate. It was like, I was pretty impressed with it. I thought it was cool.
The part of, I don't remember if this was, I think this was actually before the Griffey stuff. Were you listening when they were talking about the story about that Harry O'Neill guy? They were talking about Moonlight Graham, and then they talked about Harry O'Neill. They were drawing a comparison between the two, because Moonlight Graham obviously had, I think it was like one at bat for the Giants or something, and that's like what the whole Field of Dreams thing was about. And then they were talking about this guy Harry O'Neill, which again, I don't know how much or how little you caught of that, but it was this guy that I had never heard the story, but I think they said he had played 1 inning of baseball for the Dodgers and then got sent overseas for military purposes. And then while he was over there, like lost his, he took his World Series ring with him, lost it while he was over there. And then I guess years later, the Dodgers brought him back and like gave him a World Series ring that year to keep. And he was just he was getting real emotional on it. I mean, they did a great job on that story, but it was just a story that I hadn't heard about. So glad they shared that. But yeah, all in all, like I said, I was curious what they were going to do sans Kevin Costner, because that would get old real quick. So I think they adjusted on the fly pretty well. Well, not necessarily on the fly, but they went into this knowing that they weren't going to have him. I think they did a pretty good job of it. But it begs the question, if you're going to continue this event, like you're going to run out of storylines, I would think, right? Like you're not going to be able to produce this thing at the beginning. Right.
And the fact that, like, when you look at the movie, Kevin Costner was the youngest one in that movie for the most part.
Yeah.
We did lose Ray Liotta in a couple months ago, who played Shoeless Joe.
Did you catch that tribute? Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. So it's like, and James Earl Jones is obviously, I think, the oldest out of everybody that was in that movie. So it's like, you're not going to be able to get him there throwing out first pitches. So you're just kind of running out of characters. And then it's just like, I like that they're introducing, they had more legends there this time.
Yep.
Which was cool. So I think there's ways to do this the right way. It's just at a certain point, again, you fall back on like baseball nostalgia versus just the movie. You know what I mean? And I think if they continue to turn into that skid, that's okay. And you create a new name with it. Where it's like, I know we called the All-Star Game the Midsummer Classic, but like, no, that's kind of an old school name for it. So what if there was some type of name for this at Field of Dreams Field or something like that, or at, turn into this skid, but you don't have to just rely on Field of Dreams. You can just keep this as like an old school place where, we can get that type of like Ebbets Field and that kind of vibe where it's classic baseball. And again, get rid of the music and just keep it to where it's old school baseball. That's the only way I can think of this continuing.
Yeah, which reminds me of a moment last night during the game where me and Meredith are sitting there watching it, and she looks at me and she was like, now that they've already done this once before, She's like, would you have any interest in going to another one? And without hesitation, I was like, no. To be honest with you, I really wouldn't. Like, the first one was the one to go to.
Yep.
The game overall was just better. The production of it, as much as I hate to use that word with an event like this, it was a production.
Yeah.
And the way they did it was better. I mean, you have Kevin Costner, like, who better to be the representative for that first game? And I mean, the way the game ended, I just think put a nice cap on the entire thing. But last night, I mean, you take away the Field of Dreams aspect, that game's kind of a snooze fest.
Right.
And not to mention, we've already seen a lot of these factors before with the first game. You saw the little score bug down in the corner. That wasn't necessarily new. You saw the setup of the field. You saw the corn through the fences out in the outfield. It's like, I'm not. I promise you. I know there's people saying, "Is there anything you liked about this game?" It's not. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, I just feel like these things that we're talking about are pretty simple observations about the game. That
you take it in once and you're like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, like I'm not knocking it. Like I said, I thought the first game, all in all, the first time they did it was great. But I think it's just a simple observation to look at this and go, I don't know if this is something they can keep milking year after year.
Right.
And it is a weird break in the momentum if it is something that you want to continue to not have it the third year. Like, we're not even into double digits of this event yet, and you're already saying, well, let's push it back to the following year.
Confused. I'm very confused. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the youth complex sounds like that's probably going to be a better situation.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about
I'm assuming it's going to get handed off to them, right? Like, MLB is just going to be like, okay, this is now a youth thing.
I mean, if they're just going to throw in the towel on this whole thing altogether, it's like, why would you do it a second time? Just to see, like, if you could take another angle with it? It just doesn't make sense to me. And like, we were talking about it in our fantasy group chat with the pod fantasy group, and someone was asking, like, what are your thoughts on the complex being built? Says it takes away from some of the, like, the majesty of the ball field in the middle of a cornfield. And my response to that was, the more time that passes, the more they're going to infiltrate the grounds under the guise of, quote, keeping the Field of Dreams alive, when really it's just about the dollars. And I stand behind that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see them just kind of call it and say, look, it was a nice event. We did it twice. We're going to repurpose this now and move to something else.
Yeah.
But if they continue to do what they're doing and continue to try to recycle different avenues to take on this thing, you're eventually just going to commercialize this into the ground, and you won't. There will be no real signs of anything left related to the Field of Dreams, and that'll be sad, because I think Major League Baseball, again, if they continue to do this, they're just banking on people who are younger, not really ever seen it or growing up on it, and just saying, oh, it's this new thing, it's this Field of Dreams. And eventually you're just going to kind of weed out the movie altogether and just go by the name, because I don't know. But I'm guessing because they're not doing it next year, and they have made no indication about years or seasons beyond that. Like, I'm thinking they're throwing it in the bag.
Do you have out of curiosity, do you have like a favorite field that you ever played on, like any age, where you're just like, that was the best layout, like the best backdrop?
I did. There may be like two people that listen to this podcast that know which field I'm talking about, but it's where I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's one that comes to mind. It's where the Richmond Flying Squirrels play.
No, you played on. You played on that?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for one of my summer showcase teams, we got to play on it's called the Diamond, and it's this real, like, majestic look. It almost looks like a coliseum, but it's like a baseball field. And I love playing on that field. It was that was back when I pitched, and that was like arguably the best pitching performance of my life at that field. So
that's cool.
That's one that comes to mind.
I always think of that the side field that we played on in the state tournament It wasn't the main field that the championship was on. It was that other field.
Oh yeah.
And had the train tracks going in left field with like on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And we just absolutely annihilated teams on that field.
That was
then
money.
Switched fields, and it was no good. But yeah, I think of that.
Yeah, that's
I think they had cool dugouts too, didn't they? Didn't they have sweet dugouts there?
I think so. That's
I
a
think they were
great
sunken
callback.
down dugouts.
We're right in the middle of the hunt for the Little League World Series crown. I think teams are just wrapping up their regional tournaments right now.
Makes sense.
We were close, man. We were close to the regional tournament. We were
2 games away, 2 wins.
Two wins away from making it to the regional tournament, and then anything could happen.
Yeah.
Could have been the Little League World Series.
I wonder if that home run record still stands. I bet it does.
It has to, dude. We're using freaking BSR bats with juice baseballs.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. You mentioned legends at this game.
Mm-hmm.
I know right off the top of my head, I can remember seeing Johnny Bench. I saw Fergie Jenkins.
I think Barry Larkin was there.
Barry Larkin was there. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Griffeys were there. That was cool. But they were talking to Johnny Bench up in the booth during the game, and he brought up a point that I was like, that there's no way that can be right. But then I mean, I still have to look it up, but it maybe makes sense. But he was talking about how it was cool to have 2 of the oldest teams of baseball playing at this game, and he went off on a tangent and was like, I actually think that even though the Reds are the oldest team in baseball, he's like, I think the Cubs have actually played more games because of some, like, I don't remember. It was something about alcohol on Sundays or something. And so that the Reds, I guess, weren't playing on Sundays for some particular reason. That somebody might have to look into that.
I think I remember reading that. Yeah. Baseball wasn't allowed on Sundays for certain places.
Yeah, because like alcohol sales or something. And I'm like, that's really fascinating. I don't know if I would have known that or remembered it, because I think you're right.
Yeah.
I remember hearing something about that a while back. But yeah, somebody might have to confirm that, because that's a fascinating little trivia nugget there.
See, I think a new route you could go moving forward would potentially in introducing or incorporating more Negro League stuff as well. I think that could be a part of it. I think there's a lot of classic ways they could go if they continue, but bringing on legends like that, I think it helps for sure. And I think that's the difficulty of this game, is that you have to continue to try and beat the previous year. And at a certain point, like you said, you're going to run out of stuff to do. You're going to run out of people to invite, So it is what it is. I do appreciate the classic uniforms, but it's kind of obvious that they're doing that anywhere. I root for like a classic game scenario. I really do. Just once a year, a classic game, to where I know that we mentioned it before, like the Peacock thing a couple months ago that was accidental, where there was no commentary. That'd be cool. If you just go straight nostalgia, straight OG baseball. And I think even if you're an old head or a new cat, and you're okay with bat flips and you're okay with that kind of thing, I think you can still appreciate the sounds of baseball. And when you get the natural sounds of baseball, it feels different. When you hear spikes crunching on dirt, and you hear, the moans and groans of the crowd, and I think the umpire being the loudest guy on the field during that moment, there's certain sounds of baseball that you could really dive into, and it's just, for me, that's what missed, and will probably continue to be missed going forward if they continue to do this.
Yeah, you mentioned the sounds. I don't know if you were listening to it with the volume up, but those mics were hot.
Yeah, dude, you can hear all the guys.
Like they were on top of those guys.
Yeah. It's just
Not to mention, did you see it? Did you?
too much.
Well, I mean, I kind of liked it. I liked being able to hear every little thing. That was kind of nice. But the home plate umpire, did you see his kind of style last night?
Mm-mm.
He was one of these guys where it was like he was like stabbing people.
Oh yeah,
on,
the strike 3 call was like
stab you in the side, make you
Yeah.
feel it a little bit.
yeah.
That was funny. I was big fan of that. But yeah, going back to that topic, I don't think it's too much to ask, and I don't think we're out of place for wanting that. Like, I don't think we're necessarily in the minority either. Like, just give me one game without Pitbull or DaBaby or
Like it's none of those guys are gonna be hurting.
Music.
Nike's not gonna be hurting if their logo isn't shown. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just give us that feel for one moment, and like I think it creates a unique opportunity for maybe like new dads out there that are introducing the game to their kid during those early formative years where you're like, I want you to listen to this game. And if you get to hear players communicating on the field, ball, mine, let's turn 2 here, you got bag, that kind of communication is essential. And I think that's where we're trying to... What was the biggest topic during the All-Star game? Cortez, Nestor, and Trevino, right? With the mics. Talking back and forth, communicating. We've never heard a pitcher and catcher communicate like that. That was the biggest topic. Why can't they understand that this is what we're wanting? This is what fans want to hear. They want to hear the nuances and the intricacies of baseball that aren't just absolutely shoved down your throat between classic stories of a broadcaster that, look, I like Smoltz, but like no one younger than us remembered seeing Smoltz playing. Maybe as a closer towards the end of his career, but they don't know John Smoltz the way we know John Smoltz. So it's like, we don't need as much as that. Give me one guy. Vin Scully style, no stories, commentate the game, and let the rest of the sound of the game be a part of it. Why not?
I don't know, man. It's like this 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing.
Exactly. Just contradictory actions.
I
Sucks.
think, however, we can all agree, old head or not, that the most bizarre, strangest thing of the night was the 7th inning stretch Harry Caray hologram. What was that?
Yeah. I think even people in the crowd were like, what's happening?
Could you see?
It was weird.
Like, were they able to see this at the field, or was this like an on-screen production?
I feel like they like dropped like a projector screen down kind of thing. I think it was like a hologram. Like, people go to concerts and they still see Michael Jackson and Tupac. I think it was that kind of thing.
Which is just another thing. It's bizarre to me. Like,
I don't
understand
what our world is right
What are we doing, dude? It's like we're just living in a simulation. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It does not add up, dude. I don't get it. The Harry Caray thing was weird.
The craziest part about it, it didn't even click in my mind until I saw the tweet. Somebody said, "Why is Harry Caray doing the 7th inning stretch? This is a Reds home game."
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any
They're
sense.
treating it, this is not Wrigley. Like, if there was ever a moment if you're going to do something, hologram wise, like, why not Vin Scully? Why not the voice of Vin Scully doing something? Like, it's just, I don't understand. I don't understand who makes these decisions at MLB. I don't know if it's Fox that has a vote in these things. I hate it all. Scrap it. Grow that corn back. Demolish that field. I'm done.
Well,
I'm all the way done.
Yeah, I mean, not that anybody asked, but I'm sure at this point you could have gathered that if someone were to ask me if I would want to see this game again, my answer is no. Like I'm done. It was nice. I think they should have capped it after the first one, if I'm being honest. But now that we've exhausted all of our marketing avenues with this, with the Griffeys and Kevin Costner and just everything all together. We got the Harry Caray hologram in there. I've seen what I wanted to see. I think it was nice. I think the idea of having a game there was nice. Whether or not the execution,
one-time thing.
Yeah, whether or not the execution was up to par, that's another conversation. But I think I've seen what I need to see. I don't think we've talked about this hologram thing enough though.
Were there any home runs? One?
I don't think I remember seeing one. And then your boy A-Rod, they were doing the pregame predictions, and they're like, yeah, how many home runs do you think there's going to be? A-Rod said 8. 8 home runs.
Yeah, that guy's just on a different planet.
If you're listening at home, I'll share that with you again. Alex Rodriguez thought that there was going to be 8 home runs last night. 8. 8.
I think the answer was none.
I don't remember seeing one last night.
Double, single, double, single, double. No home runs.
Love that. So all people out there who thought they were going to be juicing the baseballs, either they did and these guys just couldn't find it, or they just simply didn't juice baseballs, which is the more likely scenario.
How about Votto? Did you catch any of that interview when he was at first?
Yeah, I did. And I thought it was kind of weird, though, that it turned into, unless I misinterpreted it, and because it was kind of, the audio for me was kind of in and out. I was muting it, unmuting it based on commercials and all that stuff. So I may have missed part of it. But the way I interpreted it there for a little bit was it almost turned into like a Smoltz love fest, where he was like praising Smoltz because he's like these young guys who get to face like Scherzer and these other guys. But he's like, that's something that I get to brag about, is facing guys like you, or something along those lines. And Smoltz is just sitting there kind of like basking in it. I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Like I love that Votto's giving props, but like, this is weird.
Yeah, so it was kind of like back and forth on what pitching was like nowadays, just because of Votto having like 16, 17 years in the league. Like, he's being able to experience both sides of it. And he talked about how like Bobby Wagner was like the best lefty he faced, but that was only about 95. And he's like, now you have to be on time for 102 because it's everywhere. So I think he was more talking along the lines of like, he's gotten both sides of it, and people, all these young guys are, just dumbfounded by Scherzer and Kershaw. And he's like, yeah, there's more guys that used to do this. And it's just gotten to the point where it's like throwers versus pitchers. It was odd, but again, like I can't hate on Smoltz at all for yesterday. When I heard that he like announced that, I was just like, I don't know how you're doing that. I don't know how you're doing this game.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah.
It
was weird because like Joe Davis didn't even know what to say. He was just like, I'm so sorry. Like, it's so fresh. Like, imagine that day of just your whole day. Everybody there is focused on executing this game, and like you are part of the broadcasting team, and you lose your dad during a tribute to a movie that is all about father-son baseball stuff. So
which
it's
he did talk about, and I thought that was really cool. He made that, drew that connection.
Yeah, it was, I think it was good. The whole thing was good how Smoltz handled it, but it's like all of it just made you feel uncomfortable. The whole thing, I felt uncomfortable the whole time.
You just mean the whole game?
Yeah. Just like watching at home, I'm just like, I'm not that into this.
I think they were saying at the beginning of the game, the tickets for like secondary market were like going for 950 or something, 920.
That's cool. I mean, it's selective. There's not a lot of seats there,
sure.
so I get it.
No, but I'm just like, I don't know.
But like, give me an experience that I wouldn't get at a stadium. I'm getting Pitbull and Neo at a stadium. I'm getting all of that stuff at a stadium. So it's like,
poor Pitbull, man.
Give me something, dude.
Just taking
Pitbull's
all
not
sorts.
hurting.
Just
Pitbull's just ricochets everywhere.
Taking strays left and right.
Yeah.
So for you, kind of putting a bow on this thing, give me your most. Let's say, give me your least favorite thing about the game and your most favorite thing about the game.
My least favorite thing. Least favorite thing is it can't be the obvious answer of the music and everything.
I mean, if you feel that strongly about it and that's what you want to plant your flag in, then I'm all for it. I feel like you've focused on that more than any other one topic about last night's game.
Yeah. It was all very average for me. Like, I have to go music for my least favorite. My favorite thing, I don't know. I don't know if I had a favorite thing. That's what sucks. Like, Griffey could have been my favorite thing, but it still seemed out of place. I know that they wanted to get like a father and son kind of thing, but like it'd be different if like, I don't know. I guess, I mean, the Reds were there, so I guess, yeah, I'll take that as my favorite, I guess. I don't know. The Griffey guys coming out.
Rewind to the beginning of the episode when I first bring it up. Yeah, I mean, the Griffey thing was cool, but Senior dropped the ball, dude.
He did drop it.
Totally dropped it. But yeah, that's my favorite thing.
What else? I mean, there's no other goods. What other good stuff happened?
You want to talk about contradictory messages? No, I'm just kidding.
What are the good stuff? What are the good things?
I mean, it's kind of something you would expect for a game like this, but I did love when they would cut to random scenes from the movie. I'm a big fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
That one that the scene we all know and love, the one where he asks him has his dad have a catch. I mean, anytime they play that, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to step away for a minute because that's just such a good scene. I don't know if that'd be my favorite part though. Honestly, hearing that Harry O'Neal story, and if you didn't catch that last night in the intro, go I'm sure they have the clip of it pulled from last night's broadcast. Go back and watch that or read up on the
stories. Was it Verducci or
it was really fascinating? Yeah,
Rosenthal.
I think it was
one of those
Verducci,
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say this is my least favorite, but just going back to that hologram thing, dude. This was like
odd.
that. It was that prime example of the Jurassic Park mindset where it's like you were so focused on whether or not you could, and you didn't stop to think about whether you should.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this just really seemed out of place. We lost, rest his soul, we lost Harry a number of years ago now.
Yeah.
It's a Reds home game.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not saying you can't honor guys years after they pass, but I'm just saying a combination of everything, the fact that it was a hologram, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm sorry. Like I really went into last night wanting to give it a fair chance. I really did. And I know based on what you and I have talked about, it probably doesn't seem that way. But like I said, you take the Field of Dreams game aspect out of it. That was kind of a snooze fest of a game.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out with this whole nostalgia approach.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm really not trying to sound nitpicky. I'm not, I promise you. But it's just, you look at this and I think anybody, if they didn't know any better about what this event was, they'd look at it and go, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah.
Are we going for old timey baseball? Or are we going for a Pitbull concert? Poor Pitbull.
How weird would it be if they like would let just like open grounds entirely? Where like you could stand out in the outfield in the cornfield during the game and just like hang over the fence. That's old school. That'd be fun.
Well, they do. They have the.
I know the maze is open and everything.
No. But I'm saying like the chain link. You can stand out there in the outfield. I don't know if you saw that, but you can peer through the chain link. It's not like a wall necessarily. Like there was people standing out there behind the fence.
Really?
Last night, yeah, and that happened. That was the
So
same
they
way
could only
last
get
year.
so close.
Well, I mean they're standing directly behind the fence. That's about as close as you can get.
I didn't see that on the
telling
fence.
you.
They were literally on the outfield fence.
Yeah, the guy was like, one of the guys was like, had his arms up, and he was kind of peering through the fence. I saw it. It was out in, check me here, but I'm pretty sure it was like out in right center or something.
Why aren't there
field.
more people doing that?
I don't know.
I'd be out there the whole time.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
You could hear Pitbull just as well out there from your seats.
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to catch the hologram. Which I saw a tweet yesterday. Apparently, they were testing it out the day before the game, and like it
was odd.
The word got out that it was. Oh, what was the? Hold on, I don't want to misspeak here. The way this tweet described it was actually pretty funny. They were saying that it was like possibly offensive or whatever. Where is it?
I bet the kids there had no idea why that was happening.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this was, what's it? 12. So this would have been Thursday. Timothy Burke tweeted, "A man hears Fox is testing a reanimated Harry Caray in hologram form for tomorrow's Field of Dreams game. Someone who has seen the footage says it is, quote, unconvincing and, quote, possibly offensive." I'm like, if that's somebody's immediate response, like maybe just
Scrap it.
scrap it. I don't know.
Get anyone else to sing that. And I mean, Harry Caray's rendition is I feel like it's just a Cubs thing.
Let
it be a Cubs thing only.
Let me get your thoughts on this tweet. This isn't my tweet. I saw this and I thought, this could be a point that people could bring up. Craig Calcaterra says, "Look, I may cringe at the Harry Caray thing, but one has to admit that half-assedly reanimating dead people to fulfill commercial impulses which exploit the viewer's nostalgia is about as on-brand as something called the Field of Dreams game can be."
It's pretty accurate.
I mean,
like you said earlier. Dollars.
Yeah.
It's just dollars.
It's just dollars.
All this is just dollars. And it's like, ugh. Why? That was bad.
We've beaten this into the ground enough.
Yeah. How did you feel about the card thing? Did you see that in the beginning? Like all the people in the crowd had like their cards they were holding.
I did.
Would say,
I love that.
Is this heaven?
Yeah.
That was cool.
This is Iowa. I did love that.
The angle was not good because you couldn't see the left side of the bleachers. You couldn't read it.
I'm gonna edit that part out so that people don't think we're nagging on that too. Let's just leave it at that was cool.
Bad. It was all bad.
No, I when they did that
was cool.
There was a smile that came to my face. I said, you know what? That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Is there anything else about this game that we need to break down? Send people off into their weekends just feeling absolutely depressed.
Wilson Contreras almost broke his leg, it looked like, so that was good that nothing happened there. You see that?
I caught
the little snipe in between second and third.
I caught the part about him walking off, but then I saw him in the game the next half, and I was like, is this a special game where you can like come out of the game and be reinserted in the game? And then I just realized that when he fell, he immediately was tagged out. But
yeah,
I thought he was able to make it to the bag, and I was like, I don't know what's going on.
The
No
old
sense.
spike catch. The old spikes are a little long because they're brand new.
Ugly, man.
Yeah,
That was
tough.
not good.
Been there. I used to happen like 2 or 3 times. I don't know why, but my cleat would get stuck in my loop, like my lace loop of my other cleat.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, so I started tucking them, and then I got the Hirachis with the Velcro strap across.
Oh yeah. I've been there. I've been there, my friend. Speaking of weekend, you just want to run through this weekend series preview real quick?
Yeah, better baseball that we're going to be talking about.
Better baseball. All right, I promise. Last thing about Field of Dreams game. Scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving it?
4.3.
Clearly you've thought about this. You were prepared.
I was thinking you were going to ask me that about 20 minutes ago, and I had a number ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah. 4.3. Positives go to the fact that the entire Fox crew bought into it and dressed up old-timey. Tribute to Ray Liotta.
Did you see the commercial? Or I think it was in the beginning. I ended up seeing it on social media. I didn't see it when they first played it. But the tease or the little commercial they played at the beginning with David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez and Johnny Bench. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
So basically, A-Rod's riding shotgun, and he's I think he's.
Are they on their way to Iowa or something?
Yeah, they're on their way to Iowa. And A-Rod's the map guy, and then they pick up Johnny Bench on the side of the road, and he's like, I'm trying to catch a ball game, and A-Rod's like, well, you're in luck because that's where we're headed. And then I legitimately laughed out loud when I saw this, but they see Big Poppy on the side of the road, and they pick him up. He opens the door, and he gets in, come on, hop on in, and then you hear him go, Johnny Bench, my dog. I'm like, this dude is a clown. You can never get this man to
Why
get
is
out
he
of character.
always offering up money before these games as well? Why does he always have a briefcase of cash?
That's their promotional thing, but that's
every game.
That's what initiated the whole 8 home run comment from A-Rod. I'm like, okay, dude, what are we doing here?
Spot on. Not a one hit. Let's call
feel.
8 from the 2 worst teams in baseball.
No feel from A-Rod. All right, better baseball.
Goon.
Weekend series preview.
My dog.
Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench is like, what are you saying?
What's your matchup, guy?
Johnny Bench, my dog. I've got the Phillies at Mets. Game 1. We're looking at, which, by the way, Phillies, I think, before yesterday had won 7 straight.
I'm also going to share a little nugget that I have to be fact-checked on.
Do you want to wait till your series?
It was a quick read. No, it's about the Phillies. That I believe there's a defensive metric. I don't know if it's, defensive runs saved. No, it was errors. They have the 5th. They're ranked 5th in the league in least amount of errors made.
Wow.
And everyone was from the beginning of the year for the last few years, just destroying them on the lack of defense. No.
Good for the fighting Phils.
Hey, they read my quote from last week. They're like, you know what? We got you. We'll turn it on.
They said, we'll get these guys to the postseason.
Haven't lost since.
Just sit back.
I have no idea.
No, they do. I think the Marlins snapped. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was the Marlins that snapped a streak, and then I think they ended up. Schwarber's out for a little bit. I think with a calf strain. I think it's calf strain. Anyway,
Schwarber's the modern day Babe Ruth, I feel like.
No, that's a quote. Game 1, we're looking
at
not
a whole lot of stretching or healthy eating going on, I feel like.
we're looking at Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. He's 8-5 this year. Got a 3.68 ERA. Opponents are hitting 258 off him. Last outing against the Nationals, he went 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, 7 hits, 5 Ks, and 2 walks. And he's going up against none other than Max Scherzer, who's 8-2 this year.
Never heard of him.
Sounds
made up.
He's had a decent opportunity this year to make a name for himself, and he's playing good
sometimes
ball.
You just need a chance.
Sometimes you just need a little more than a cup of coffee, and good on the Mets for giving him that chance. Yeah. 8-2, 1.98 ERA. Opponents are hitting 200 flat off him. Last outing against the Braves, he went 7 innings, allowed 0 earned runs on 4 hits, 11 Ks and no walks. Game 2, Aaron Nola for the Phillies, 8-8, 3.17 ERA. Opponents are hitting 219 off him. He's got his last outing against the Nationals was 6 innings, gave up 1 run on 5 hits, 5 Ks, and 2 walks. Game 2, Jacob deGrom, who has made 2 starts this year, is 1-0 with an ERA at 2.53. Opponents are hitting 114 off him. Last outing against the Braves went 5 2/3 with 2 earned runs on 1 hit, 12 Ks. 12 Ks in 5 1/3. That's
yeah, he's back.
He's back. And 1 walk. Game 3, Zach Wheeler going for the Phillies, 11-5, an ERA at 2.63. Opponents are hitting 218 off him. Last out against the Marlins went 6 innings, gave up 1 earned run on 5 hits, 8 Ks, and 3 walks. Chris Bassett going for the Mets, 9-7 with an ERA of 3.39. Opponents are hitting 230 off him. The last outing against the Reds, who we've just demolished tonight. Who we've just shredded to pieces tonight.
Yeah.
8 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 8 hits. I don't know how you give up no runs and give up 8 hits. Like, you would just think something would squeak across.
True.
But it's the Reds.
But 8 hits. Go 8 innings.
8 hits, 8 Ks, 1 walk. Alec Boehm, his last 5 games entering Friday. He's 4 for 18, no bombs, 2 ribbies, and 4 Ks. Pete Alonso on the flip side is 7 for his last 19.
On the flippity flip.
No bombs, 4 ribbies, and 4 Ks. So there you have it.
Good stuff. What's your favorite game out of those 3?
I mean, game 2's good.
Yeah, I'd probably go game 2.
Chris Bassett, dude, when he's on, he's on. And him going up against Zach Wheeler, that's what I'm saying. Him going up against Zach Wheeler, if Bassett has it on Sunday, that I'm assuming that's Sunday Night Baseball. No?
Do they tell you anymore?
What time's their game on Sunday?
No, Sunday Night Baseball is Yankees Sox.
Of course. Who wants to watch that?
I don't even know if I want to watch it.
I don't think I want to watch that. I might just take a pass this weekend.
Pretty bad. I'm just gonna go golf, I think. Yeah.
Terrible baseball. What do you got? What matchup you got your eye on this weekend?
You know what? This is a good matchup. It's Brewers at Cardinals. Fight for first place. At the moment, what are we at here? Entering Friday's games, St. Louis does have a half-game lead over Milwaukee. So this is a big series. I think this could help gain some momentum. But game 1, you have Eric Lauer going for Milwaukee. He's 8-3 this year, 3.60 ERA. Opponents are hitting 230 against him. And last time out against Cincinnati, he went 7 innings, only allowed 1 off of 6 hits, 4 Ks, 3 walks. Jordan Montgomery making his second start for the Cardinals. 4-3 this year, 3.53 ERA. Opponents are hitting 232 against him. And last time out, actually, against the Yankees, his former team, he went 5 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 K. Cream of the crop matchup would be game 2. Corbin Burns going for Milwaukee. He's 8-5 this year, 2.45 ERA. Opponents are hitting 183 against him. Last time out against Cincinnati, went 6 innings, 1 earned run, 2 hits, 9 Ks, and 2 walks. What's crazy is that this isn't like the Corbin Burns that we expect. That's what's crazy. Is that like he's still having a really good year, but it's not like Corbin Burns at his max, which is nuts. And he's going up against Adam Wainwright, 8-8 this year, 3.42 ERA. Opponents are hitting 253 against him. Last time out against the Yankees, a little rough. 4 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 walks, 5 Ks. And Sunday's game is Aaron Ashby going for Milwaukee. Tough year, 2-10, 4.32 ERA. Opponents are hitting 251 against him. Last time out against Cincinnati, 4 2/3, 4 earned runs, 3 hits, 5 Ks, 5 walks. And Miles Michaelis has had a good year, but not last week. But he's going for the Cardinals. He's 8-9 this year, 3.50 ERA. Opponents are hitting 239 against him, but whoa, against the Rockies. Rockies were a little mean to Miles, our boy Miles. He went 2 2/3, 10 earned runs, no walks, 2 Ks. My stars to look out for. Nolan Arenado is otherworldly right now. Absolutely just owned the Yankees on his own. 9 for his last 23 in his last 5 games, with 3 jacks, 9 ribeyes, and 5 strikeouts. And as we know, this is kind of the narrative for Milwaukee. We're not totally sure who's the offensive guy. Yelich is not what Yelich used to be, so we're highlighting Andrew McCutchen, who's had a pretty good year, somewhat of a resurgent year. But he's 4 of his last 14, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 3 strikeouts in his last 5 games. That is my matchup. Game 2 is the one, though. If you guys can watch on Saturday, that's the one.
Is that it?
That's it. That's all we got. All we got.
All right. We'll see you guys Monday. Have a great weekend. Stay out of trouble. Kids stay in school. Well, school's not in yet. School starts soon, though. What do you got going? Well, I got a question. Why does school start in August? Why are they doing that to these kids?
Yeah, school's already going here too.
That's criminal.
Used to be September for sure.
After Labor Day, that was just the thing. Now it's like, hey, let's start in June. Not a thing.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in school anymore. Let's just say that.
I don't have much going on this weekend. Just laying low. I did get an offer to go to the Nats Padres game tonight. Soto makes his return to DC. Yeah, we got stuff going on this evening. Meredith will be out, and I did have plans to watch the game, but I don't know. Some things might keep me from going to that, but it'll be cool to see, though. I'll be interested to see the reception he gets. But other than that, just laying low.
I'll be interested too. I feel like it didn't have enough time to. There wasn't enough separation there. It's still too fresh.
Yeah, real
for
fresh.
Nats fans. I would have liked to see the first return being next year.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm not doing anything this weekend. Not much. Golfing Sunday and
watch some high caliber baseball between the struggling Yanks and cellar dweller Sox. Can't wait.
Yeah. Just bad. I feel it's just bad. I'm not riding high. I'm actually very nervous for the rest of the year.
Give me a prediction. What do you have happening?
I don't know. The Yankees could score 80 runs or score 2 all weekend. I have no idea. I have genuinely no idea. What are those matchups out of curiosity? Who's going between those two? Do you know?
Don't know. To be quite honest with you, don't really care.
Evaldi Herman tonight.
I love Nate in a Friday night matchup. I'm all in on.
You're all in on that?
All in on the Friday Reds with Nate on the mound. Big fan of that, but who knows what'll happen.
Yeah. Montas getting his second start with the Yanks with Crawford. I don't even know his first name.
Cutter Crawford.
Cutter Crawford. Heard of him. And Tyone versus Waka Sunday. So the Yanks are definitely losing Sunday.
Well, Walker's coming back off the IL, so we'll see.
It's all just very, very average baseball for our squads. That's why we said go watch Brewers Cardinals.
Phillies,
and whoever
Mets.
your matchup was. Yeah, there you go.
I literally just
I
said
wasn't
it
really
like
listening.
five minutes ago.
I was out.
5 minutes ago. Phillies,
I was
Mets.
tapped out. It's the end of the week. I don't care anymore. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.